Trying this again. Sorry, my cat disrupted my last video. I see that the paid protesters showed up in New Orleans last night to disrupt the monuments. Nothing happens for over a week, then those idiots show up. What a surprise, huh? Hold on. Explaining to somebody about what's going on because they don't understand what's going on. But anyways, 1,000 of those counter protesters showed up last night. So, and some of the people defending the monument were attacked because obviously these counter protesters can't do anything non-violently. But you know, can't really expect anything different. I mean, like I said, nothing happened for over a week, and then those idiots show up out of nowhere. Yeah, tell me another one. They're freaking. There's gonna be another civil war. That's all there is to it. But because these idiots don't know what the hell they think the flag is racist and all that, and it's like, first of all, there were at least 12 U.S. presidents, including George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Ulysses S. Grant, among others, that owned slaves. Okay? So why are their monuments still up? If you want to play that card. And you don't even have to look hard to find it. And they think that Confederacy only represented slavery. Well, a lot of the Union states had slaves too. Actually, all the Union states had slaves at one point. Just because they didn't just before the Civil War, during the Civil War, doesn't mean anything. They still did, regardless of what time frame they did it. They still did it. Hell, for example, in the state of Vermont, they were the first one to ban slavery, but the problem is they didn't bother to actually enforce it, and a lot of the rich people that owned them kept them anyway. So it just goes to prove, just because something's banned doesn't mean people aren't going to do it. But I mean, they had I actually saw a newscast last July on modern slavery in Vermont. So yes, not much seems to have changed in 250 years. But it's funny how they people bitch about what happened in the 1800s, but they're not worried about what's going on now. It's like they're more worried about taking down monuments and stuff, and I was like, well, people are offended by everything. I mean, I just heard something come out, the New Orleans Saints, the football team, their logo is racist and represents slavery. This is how far this has gotten. All because some idiot in 2015 shot up a damn church. It's like what happened with the Salem witch trials. It's mass hysteria. The flag didn't need to come down in South Carolina. Then, I mean, the guy that did it committed 9 acts of first-degree murder. He's going to be executed, okay? Justice. Let it go. Stop blaming flags and symbols for the act of a man, okay? The flag didn't freaking pull the trigger on those people. He did. And he is going to pay for it. So let it go. He had a little $2 flag in a couple of his Facebook pictures. You know, whoop-de-doo. He used the flag in a bad way. Okay? That's all he did. But don't blame the flag for the act of a man. Okay? Just because somebody uses it in a bad way doesn't mean it's bad. Like, the KKK uses the American flag as their main flag, and they've said that openly. So, I mean, you look at old pictures of them, or even recent pictures of them, wherever it's a mass gathering, it's always with the American flag. It's never. You may have one or two stray people with a battle flag or whatever flag, but their main flag is the American flag. So, but just because they use it, does that automatically mean it's racist? No. What was the American flag used on slave ships? Yes. Were millions of Native American Indians slaughtered under it? Yes. But it's still a flag. I mean, flag doesn't choose what it happens under it or where it goes. It's an object. If you're going to use it in a bad way, then people are going to probably see it as a bad flag. But it doesn't mean that it is, just because some liberal thinks it is. But just like the Dukes of Hazzard reruns were taken off TV, and yet shows like the Jeffersons and All in the Family, which actually had racist slurs in them, are still on. Make sense? Nope. Actually, if you want to get technical, pretty much everything on that BET network has racist slurs in it. But most people know that. But just like Warner Brothers decided to stop selling General Lee cars, that's fine. They're not that hard to make. All you got to do is get the decals and paint whatever car you want orange. Doesn't necessarily have to be a Dodge Charger. And make one yourself. Like, I have this little 55 Chevy here that somebody made that I got. And I don't feel like grabbing it right now, but I have one I made out of a NASCAR car. So even you can print the decals out yourself. Because I know people that you don't have to pay Warner Brothers anything, because you're buying all the materials yourself and you're doing the work yourself. So if you make 20 General Lee cars, like little Hot Wheels ones, out of different cars, and you sell them for like $10 a piece, that money's yours. Warner Bros. Doesn't get any of it. They took their ball and went home. They could still be filling the competition, but they decided to, which is kind of funny because they're the ones that created the show in the first place. It's kind of funny how a company can turn its back on its own creation, but it's not the first time that's happened. But Warner Brothers has never had any kind of backbone anyway, so they've always been little wimps. It's like a lot of this stuff is national news, so I'm sure you've heard about it. In South Burlington, Vermont, there's controversy over the high school team name, the Rebels. Okay, rebel is a word that's in the dictionary, but these liberals are too stupid to know that. And of course, the NAACP and the Black Lives Matter have stuck their noses in it, as always, sticking their noses where it don't belong. And they're trying to say, well, it had ties to the Confederacy. No, it didn't, because it wasn't even a team name until the 1960s. Yes, maybe some fans brought, the battle flag to a game or whatever. So what? It's a battle flag. It's happened before. Sports events wasn't a problem before. So, just because a few people are offended by it, you know what? If we're going to take down everything that people are offended by, why do we have anything at all? Because people are offended by absolutely everything. I mean, people are offended by, if they're a vegetarian, they're offended that you eat meat. They're offended by the movies you watch, or the clothes that you wear, or maybe the way you just look in general. I mean, I see people look at me and snicker all the time. It's kind of funny how they don't say anything to my face, though, but that's the way they are. It's just like, but people are offended by everything now. It didn't used to be that way, but I'm amazed how far it's gotten. I mean, I've seen in my other videos a couple of years ago, 2015 actually, that was like one of the worst years for it. There was actually a petition. I thought it was fake at first, but it was actually through one of those actual petition websites. There was a petition to ban the song White Christmas because they say that it was racist. It's about snow. But it actually had, let's say, a couple thousand signatures when I looked at it. Obviously, I didn't sign it because I thought it was stupid, but it's kind of funny how it got that far where they're trying to ban that song. The movie would probably be next because White Christmas is a movie too, with Bing Crosby. But that's how far this politically correct crap has gotten. I mean, doubt it's going to get any better. It hasn't yet. People think that some people think it's just going to stop if you take down the Confederate monuments. No, it's not. Because like I said, there was 12 U.S. presidents that owned slaves. Once people realize that, those are probably going to come down, like the Washington Monument and like that. Because they were trying to take down one of Woodrow Wilson last year because they say he was racist. I'm amazed that there's 3 monuments for General William Sherman, the Union General, because he really didn't like black people. He was a Union General, yes, but people don't realize what they hear about his march to the sea. A lot of people, you don't understand what that was. What he did was he burned everything in his path, and there was no Confederate army in Atlanta that night. Only women and children, but he said burn it, and that's what they did. He and his men were even the black women and children, they were raping and killing them. Now, when I first heard of this, when I watched one of my Civil War documentaries, I thought, okay, that has to be an error. There's no way in hell that can be true. Okay, I mean, after all, the Union were supposed to be the good guys. But luckily jumped on the computer. Sure enough, word for word, what that narrator said was true. So it's kind of funny how those Black Lives Matter idiots and those activists don't see that, what he did to their people back then. But maybe because they feel that he was on the right side, maybe they don't see nothing wrong with it. But it's kind of a double standard. I mean, it goes both ways. But that's what it comes down to. I mean, that's the thing about it. I mean, General Grant, the Union Army, was a slave owner, and General Robert E. Lee wasn't. And yet, General Lee's the one that gets all the flack. But just like I said, there was Irish people, there was black people, and there was even Cherokee Indians in the Confederate Army. Because I showed you in one of my other videos that picture of the Cherokee Braves that fought for the Confederacy. Or a group of the Cherokee Braves. It's probably not all of them, obviously, but some of the survivors from that regiment. But liberals would like you to believe that only white people, only white men fought for the Confederacy. That's what they would like you to believe. Well, you don't want to believe that, then why should we believe that there was a black regiment in the Union Army, that Massachusetts Infantry? why should we believe that? Yeah, sure, there's pictures of it, but you want to call all our stuff fake? How do we know that's not fake? You want to put it that way? I mean, maybe the movie Glory was made just as a publicity stunt to make the Union Army look good. So, if you want to play that card. But the fact is that people of all nationalities fought on both sides. And then General Robert E. Lee was the one that surrendered, but he never had permission to do so. So if you really want to get technical, that war really never ended. Of course, World War I never really ended either. I mean, the dust never really settled, which ultimately led to World War II. Of course, the same thing happened with the Revolutionary War. Dust never really settled for him, and that's what led all the way to War of 1812 and whatnot. So that went on for a while, but fact is, America's been at war for most of its history. I forget what the exact number is, but for most of America's history, from 1776 up until now, 241 years, most of its history, it's been in a war of some sort. You know, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Gulf War. Now, that's another thing. Another thing people say is that, why do you like the Confederacy? They lost the war. And I'm like, well, to be fair, America as a whole lost Vietnam, they lost the Gulf War, and they lost Korea. You look up the results of those wars, you don't see North America listed as the victor. So, that having been said, yeah, I respect the servicemen that did it, of course. Never said I didn't, but that's why the people that fought there don't go around saying that they won the war, because they didn't. America is not exempt from losing a war. They really technically haven't won a war since World War II. And that was an Allied victory. That was a shared victory. In World War I, they shouldn't have even been in anyways, because by the time they got in there, I mean, what's the point? I mean, war started in 1914. They didn't enter until spring of 1917. So it's like, why even jump in at that point? And then Korea and Vietnam shouldn't have been in anyway. No reason to be there. Just like there's no reason to be in Korea now. But technically, like I said, Korean War, they never really stopped, because the tensions that they had back in the early 50s are still going on now between North and South Korea. You see, North and South Vietnam just became Vietnam. So that actually worked out. Granted, it took almost like 16 years before the war ended, from the time it started, but it worked out. But with Korea, it didn't, because there's still a North and South Korea. They're still separated by that, and they still have growing tensions. And you could say the dust really never settled from the early 50s. 52, 53, 54, whenever the hell the damn war ended. I don't know, I never really paid much attention to that one. But I know that World War II ended in 1945 and World War I ended in 1918. But anyways, the old saying is that those who fail at history are doomed to repeat it. Well, you keep it up, that's what's going to happen. And if it does, well, I don't think you'll have the same result that you did back then. But whatever. But I urge all available people to head down to New Orleans to assist our rebel brothers and sisters that are defending the monuments, like the Jefferson Davis Monument. I'm going to give you all a heads up. They're supposed to try to tear down the General Lee one on the 7th, which is only 5 days from now. So, going to have some people standing around that one, too. And this is all because of that stupid idiot mayor, Mitch Landrieu, or I guess his name is. Little goofy-looking bald fucker. Yeah, hopefully he doesn't get reelected, but it's kind of funny how people go to New Orleans to for the history to see stuff like that. They don't understand. They take down these monuments. A lot of that's going to stop. But well, they'll still have the liberals visit, I guess, because liberals don't have brains to begin with. You ever try arguing with a brainless person? It's pointless. But I'm sure you know that. But anyways, got another video to do, so I'm going to wrap this up. But you can watch my other thoughts on political correctness and other issues, and I also have many other videos that you might be interested in. I've uploaded a few movies as well, so thank y'all and have a nice day.